The creature that terrified a generation on the silver screen never existed. The 6-foot-tall, scaly-skinned hunter is a cinematic phantom, a myth inspired by a fossil that tells a far more interesting and complex story. Welcome to Dinosaurs Explain, where every fossil tells a story, and cutting-edge science reveals the lost world. Today we peel back the layers of Hollywood fiction to meet the true Velociraptor mongoliensis. Guided by AI analysis and incredible fossil discoveries from the Gobi Desert, we will reconstruct the ZS Swift thief as it truly was, an intelligent, feathered predator whose reality is more breathtaking than any movie monster. So, if you're ready to uncover the truth behind the legend, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Your journey into the past begins now. Your journey starts not in a high-tech lab, but in the windswept expanse of the Gobi Desert in 1923. It's here that a paleontological expedition first unearthed a crushed but clearly predatory skull, alongside a single unmistakable weapon, a curved, sickle-like claw. The president of the museum, Henry Fairfield Osborne, christened it Velociraptor mongoliensis, the swift thief from Mongolia. The name was perfect, conjuring images of a cunning and agile hunter. But the skeleton told a different story from the one that would later explode in pop culture. This animal was small, no taller than a large turkey. The movie monster you picture was actually based on its much larger North American cousin, Deinonychus. The real Velociraptor was a more subtle, compact predator, whose lethality wasn't in its size, but in its design. To understand that design, we must look deeper than the myth, and build it from the bones up. And building it up is precisely what we can do now, with unprecedented power. You take that original Gobi fossil, place it within a CT scanner, and bombard it with X-rays. Millions of data points map every surface, every internal cavity, every microscopic fracture. This digital blueprint is then fed to AI algorithms, which virtually remove the stone, correct the geologic distortions, and reassemble the crushed bones into a perfect, three-dimensional skeleton. The first thing our model reveals is the skeleton's profound lightness. Its bones are hollow and filled with air sacs, a pneumatic system identical to that of modern birds, which made it incredibly light and agile. This wasn't a plodding brute. It was built for speed and acrobatic movement. You see the long, rigid tail, not as a flexible whip, but as a dynamic stabilizer. Physics simulations show it acting as a rudder, allowing Velociraptor to make hairpin turns at full sprint, keeping its gaze locked on a fleeting target. Our AI can then peer inside the digitally reconstructed skull, modeling the brain cavity to reveal the shape of the brain itself. The result is astonishing. The optic lobes, responsible for vision, are enormous. The cerebrum is large for an animal of its size, suggesting a level of intelligence and problem-solving capability, far exceeding the reptilian norm. This was a creature that didn't just react, it observed, it planned, it learned. It saw its world in high-definition detail. But the most revolutionary part of this digital resurrection is the skin, or rather, the lack of scales. Fossil evidence from its closest relatives shows unequivocal proof of feathers. We see quill knobs on their arm bones, anchor points for large, complex flight feathers. Our AI, using this data, can now clothe the Velociraptor skeleton with scientific accuracy. These weren't simple, downy filaments. It had a full coat of feathers for insulation, and its arms bore broad, wing-like structures likely used for display, for protecting its eggs, and for providing extra stability and control as it leaped and maneuvered. And finally, we turn our digital toolkit to that famous claw. For decades, it was imagined as a slashing weapon, used to disembowel large prey. But biomechanical models tell a different story. The claw was strong, but it wasn't shaped for slashing through thick hide. Instead, it was a precision instrument. The AI simulations reveal its true purpose: a grappling hook. Leaping onto its prey, Velociraptor would use the claw to puncture and pin its victim down, using its body weight to restrain the struggling animal, much like a modern hawk or eagle. The scaly movie monster is gone, replaced by a sophisticated, warm-blooded, and feathered hunter. A true bird of prey from the Cretaceous. With our scientifically accurate model complete, we can do what was once impossible. We can turn on the simulation, step through the screen, and spend a day with Velociraptor in its long-lost world. The time is 75 million years ago, the late Cretaceous. The place is a vast, windswept landscape of sand dunes and rocky outcrops that will one day be called the Gobi Desert. But it is not lifeless. Intermittent streams support hardy, low-growing vegetation, creating pockets of life in the arid expanse. The air is dry, and the sun beats down with an intensity you can almost feel. From a shadowed alcove among the rocks, our Velociraptor emerges. Its feathers, perhaps a mottled pattern of browns and grays, provide perfect camouflage against the sand and scrub. 6. It takes a moment to preen, using its snout to align the delicate structures of its arm feathers. An instinctual behavior you see in its avian descendants every day. But it is a hunter, and it is hungry. Its keen, bird-like eyes, built for spotting movement, scan the terrain. It ignores the lumbering herds of armored pinacosaurs in the distance. They are not its prey. Its diet is one of smaller, more agile quarry, lizards, primitive mammals, and the young of other dinosaurs. Soon, its gaze locks onto a target, a small, shrew-like mammal dots from the cover of a desert bush. Instantly, the Velociraptor's posture changes. It drops into a low crouch, moving with a silent, deliberate grace. It uses every rock and shrub for cover, closing the distance. The stalk is a masterclass in predatory patience. Then, an explosion of motion. It bursts from cover, a feathered streak against the red sand. The chase is a blur of agility, its stiff tail acting as a precise counterbalance for every zig and zag the mammal makes. In a final, acrobatic leap, it covers the last few feet. The sickle claw, held high off the ground during the run, now finds its purpose. It swings down not in a slash, but in a swift, decisive pin, trapping the small creature against the earth. The hunt is over in seconds. It was not a battle, but a display of hyper-efficient, specialized predation. This small meal will fuel it through the day, a constant cycle of energy sought and won in this harsh, beautiful world. But this Velociraptor was not alone in its desert world. You have to imagine it as part of a complex web of life, a dynamic stage filled with other specialized creatures. You see vast herds of the stubborn, sheep-sized Protoceratops with their powerful beaks. You see the enigmatic, bird-like Oviraptor, once wrongly accused of egg stealing, now understood to be a devoted parent. And the best evidence of how Velociraptor fit into this world comes from a single, breathtaking fossil. A stone snapshot of behavior that is arguably the most dramatic in the entire fossil record. It is known simply as the fighting dinosaurs. Discovered in 1971, it's a moment of life and death combat, frozen for 75 million years. Likely when a sand dune collapsed and buried both animals instantly. The Velociraptor is locked in battle with the Protoceratops. The scene is electric with action. The Velociraptor has its deadly sickle claw kicked forward, seemingly aimed at the soft throat or neck of its adversary. But the Protoceratops has fought back, its powerful jaw having clamped down and crushed the predator's right arm. This isn't a speculative reconstruction, it's a real event. It tells you that Velociraptor, despite being relatively small, was an incredibly audacious and formidable hunter, willing to take on dangerous prey that could and did inflict mortal wounds. This fossil helps us define its ecological niche. It was a mesopredator, a middle-tier hunter, but it also forces us to address the greatest myth of all, the idea of the cunning, coordinated pack. There is in fact no direct fossil evidence that Velociraptor hunted this way. The Fighting Dinosaurs depicts a one-on-one duel, while some trackways of other raptor species suggest group movement. This may have been mobbing behavior, like we see in some birds today, rather than sophisticated, wolf-like pack strategy. Our AI simulations confirm that a single determined velociraptor was more than capable of tackling a protoceratops alone. The cinematic vision of a reptilian wolf pack gives way to a more scientifically grounded picture. A solitary or loosely social hunter whose intelligence and lethal anatomy made it a master of its specific, dangerous role in the Cretaceous food web. The Velociraptor story doesn't end with its extinction in that ancient, arid world. Its greatest impact, its true legacy, began the moment its bones were brought back into the light. More than almost any other dinosaur, Velociraptor and its relatives became the key that unlocked one of science's greatest secrets. The hollow bones, the wishbone, and the definitive evidence of complex feathers in its family provided the undeniable link between dinosaurs and modern birds. It helped transform our entire view of these animals, from sluggish reptiles into the active, intelligent, and warm-blooded ancestors of the alien life that fills our skies today. The movie Monster, while fiction, inspired millions to look to the past, fueling the very science that revealed the more spectacular truth. And that truth is still beautifully, thrillingly incomplete. Our journey with the swift thief is far from over. As our technology grows more powerful, so too does our vision into the deep past. Future AI may decipher the fossilized pigments to show us the true colors of its feathers. Biomechanical models may one day reconstruct the resonant calls that echoed across the Cretaceous desert. New fossils, unearthed from the stubborn rock of the Gobi, will undoubtedly add brushstrokes of detail we cannot yet imagine, revealing the secrets of its nesting behaviors and social lives. The Velociraptor is more than a fossil. It is a bridge through time. It reminds us that the past is never truly dead, but is alive with questions, waiting for us to find them. Every digital scan and fresh discovery brings the ghost of this incredible animal into sharper focus.